All right, what is going on today, chat? What is up? What is up? Happy Wednesday and happy grade review day. Here we go, chat. Episode 19. Already almost hitting that big 20. Hopefully get something fun planned, but yeah, welcome. Appreciate the likes so far. A few that I've seen. Manny, I think I saw another one too, but appreciate the good vibes. Chris, welcome. Semi, welcome. Norse, welcome in. Hopefully the vibes are good today, chat. Hopefully you guys are doing good. 4S, welcome. And thanks for the like. Appreciate you. Nice to see you guys again. Nice to see you. So for those of you who are new, my name is Galaxia Gaming, and every Wednesday we do what's called Grade Review. And for those of you who want to know what Grade Review is, Grade Review is where we as a community and myself review the community members' cards for free and give a general assessment on what we think the card would get graded as. So it's always a fun thing to look at people's cards and just have a good time. We just started, Chris. We are 3 minutes in. We are fresh. We are hydrated. We are going after it. So yeah. So if this is your first time, again, welcome. And we're just gonna jump right into it as always. So first up, Witch, thanks for the share. Appreciate you very much. So first up, we're gonna go through the sub grade review. So we have 3 subs that have submitted. First is Bjorn, J King, then Taco. So first, we're going to get right into Bjorn's with this always loved Venusaur from base set. So, as always, chat, what do we look for? We look for centering, corners, edges, and surface. So, right off the bat, the centering looks pretty good on this. Appreciate the share as well, which I think I said that already. So centering is pretty good. Edge is pretty good. And the nice thing is that we have this little magnifying tool that we can kind of look a little bit closer at some of the detail of this card. Oh, nice. First GTA and now Minecraft. I love it. So corners look good. A little bit of almost looks like edge wear on that right side. But really the biggest thing, and you guys can probably see it as well, is some of the scratching on the foil. So that is obviously going to take back some of the surface grade, but we are going to flip this bad boy over. And right off the bat, we are seeing some whitening on the corners. So we got the top left, have some whitening, as well as this left edge, and we almost have like a stain. And for those of you who are new, I'll kind of explain it real quick. So something like this, a stain like this can probably get removed with a microfiber cloth or a Q-tip with some distilled water. So I normally am not worried about stuff like that, but we'll keep on keeping on. So we do have some whitening in that bottom left, as well as the bottom edge, and then the bottom right. Stealth, thanks for liking the live, appreciate you. And on the right side as well, have some mild whitening, but overall, that's all I'm really seeing. I'm not seeing much on the center at surface. It's really a lot of on the outer edge, as well as this weird stain on the front and the back. So another thing we like to do, chat, this is your first time, we also like to leave a poll. So I'm going to start a poll to see what you guys think this card would get. So poll is active now, should be on your device in the top left-hand corner of your screen. If you want to weigh in on what you think this card would get as a PSA grade. So go ahead and vote now. So while you guys are voting, I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. Pokizon, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you. But yeah, this is this one I kind of jam-packed while you guys are voting. This is a pretty beefy day. Have a little bit over the 25. I think we have 32 cards total for today. Try to get through that queue as much as I can, because I saw a lot of modern, so I figured we could probably cruise through some of these a little bit. So I appreciate it, Pokizon. Thanks so much. It's a nice, fun little thing that I like to do with the community. Just kind of chill out and kind of educate a little bit too. Kind of share the loves, share the knowledge that I've gathered throughout the years. Aaron, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you. Hey, Drew, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. Semi, if you didn't get a message today, odds are you probably won't be, your cards probably won't be in today's stream if you didn't get a message earlier today. But if you did get a message, you will. All right, so let's end the poll there. So a majority of you are thinking between a 7 and a 6. So and now you guys can kind of see how this looks. So chat is 7 or 6. So what do I think this Venusaur from base set would get? So again, the centering on the front is good. The only thing that I see on the edges on the front is what's called silvering. So this kind of nicked side on this right side. So other than that, I don't see any scratches on the text. And really the only scratches I see is more on the hollow on the Victory Bell. And I appreciate the finger heart me, and the rose. I apologize if I missed that, but thank you so much. But yeah, most of the damage from what I can visibly see is really just apparent on the hollow. So if we flip it over, centering is not too bad on the back either. However, there is a lot of whitening on those corners. Not so much on the edges, which is always good. But the corners, all four, have some degree of whitening. I will say as well that this stain appears to be able to get cleaned with just either a microfiber cloth or some distilled water and a Q-tip. So not too worried about this, but that's always just a note for you guys if you ever see anything like this. That can be cleaned off, which will improve your surface score. So all in all, I think you guys are pretty on mark, to be honest. I would probably say that this would be a pretty solid 6 if we can get rid of some of those stains. So my assessment would be a 6, and then chat grade a 7 and a 6. So good job, chat. Kudos to you. So Aaron, if you're wondering, and that goes for anyone else, if you guys are wondering how to submit your cards for free for this, if you go to... So you have a image on your phone now, or your device. It's a screenshot of a pinned video called Grade Review and How To. It's about a 45-second video. It should show you everything you need to know about how to join the Discord, what channel to submit, and the most important thing that I cannot emphasize enough is in the pinned messages, it gives you all the rules you need to, I kind of sound like militant, but kind of adhere to in order for it to show up on stream well. For example, if you have a card inside of a sleeve and inside of a top loader, it makes it very hard for us as stream to assess the card properly. But it's really quick, and there's also a bunch of updates and giveaways on the Discord as well. There's way more than just grade review, so I highly recommend joining, so I appreciate the interest. Hey, J King, how's it going? Nice to see you again. All right, so now that we have the rhythm going, we're now going into some modern, which is always fun. And this one, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to have to search image with Google because I have no idea what the name of this card is. So this looks like Carmen, I believe. Yes, perfect. Hey, look at that. My Google Lens is not lying. Thank you, chat. Honestly, a really cool artwork. Always love. I'm a big fan of, for those of you who don't know, I am in the New York area, and I am a big fan of candy apples. So it's pretty sick. All right, let's just get right into it. So normally with Modern, just to be transparent, is most people are pretty much looking for whether or not the card is going to get a 10 or not. So in this scenario, what I like to do, and this is something that you guys can't see, but this is something you should always do with your cards, is measure the centering. So some people will use a ruler, which is totally okay, but then there's also tools like a centering tool that's basically like a clear film with some measuring lines on the top that allows you to measure the centering. So for example, I'm going to measure from the left and the right. I'm literally putting a ruler on my monitor. So from my perspective with this picture, we got slightly less than a 1/4 inch on the left, and just about a 1/4 inch on the right. So we're kind of in that realm of within 55-45 ratio to 50-50 ratio. However, what I'm seeing, and I'm going to kind of verify, is that it looks bottom heavy. So on the bottom, we got about a 1/4 inch on the bottom, but on the top, we almost have about 1/8 of an inch. So right away, we definitely have a little bit of centering issues on the front for sure. So I would say in this case, and again, you should always do this with modern cards specifically. I do not think that this would get a 10. Just from my measurement alone, I think the bottom is much thicker than the top. So unfortunately, I don't believe that would get a 10, but a really cool card nonetheless, for sure. Yeah, James, I also saw that bottom heavy too. Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you guys again. But yeah, the centering was really kind of holding this back for sure. Austin, welcome. Pure, welcome. All right, next up, and again, I keep forgetting these modern card names. So it looks like Perrin, if I'm saying that right, or I'm saying it wrong and butchering it completely. So Perrin. So another really cool chase. Yes, Loke, yep. So it's a completely free service. The only caveat is if you want yours expedited, because it is first come, first serve, I do offer a subscription through either TikTok, but I'm kind of more gearing towards Discord. There's going to be some announcements soon that gives you priority. So for example, Bjorn, Jake King, and Taco are both subs, and we're going over their reviews right now. So if you want them to be kind of faster versus if you just want to do it fun, it kind of gives you 2 options to do so. I appreciate the kind words, Look. I really do. There you go, Trev. All right, so the kind of cool thing with some of the tools that we have online is you can kind of see, if you've never seen this before, is the Growlithe in the camera lens, which if you've seen the other part of the Growlithe, it's combined on the bottom. So it's a kind of a combined artwork, which is super cool. Look, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. And if I missed anyone else that's followed or shared or like, I really do appreciate it. I don't mean to not call anyone out, but I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. All right, so centering is looking a lot better on this one for sure. So let's get the old handy dandy ruler out. Joe, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. All right, so left side, we got about a 1/4 inch. Right side, we have right on a 1/4 inch. Top, if I can, we got just above, between 1/8 of an inch and a 1/4 inch. And let's see if that's the case on the bottom. So just shy of a 1/4 inch. So I always recommend doing this in person as well, because I'm literally putting a ruler onto the monitor, so it makes it a little bit tougher. But so far, the bottom is slightly thicker than the top. So if we flip it over, the centering on this actually looks pretty decent. And one thing I probably should have looked on the previous one, but the centering was kind of off already. But I also don't see any whitening on the corners, which is pretty common for modern. Is either slight whitened corners or off centering issues. So I would say this one has a pretty decent shot. Again, I would just double check and make sure that the bottom and the top of this one specifically is within that 55-45 or 50-50 ratio. If it is, you got a pretty good shot at a 10, because the back looks in really good centering. So, but yeah, I definitely would double check that for sure. All right, so before I go to this one, I actually know the name of. This is Rosa, because I have one in a PSA 9. I think I got rid of it, actually. I can't remember. But Victor, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. And look, it looks like someone already answered your question. I apologize if I didn't catch it right away. But for those of you who are wondering how to submit your cards for free grade review, I have an image on screen now. It's a screenshot of the pinned video called Grade Review and How To. It's about a 45-second video. Give that a watch. It'll give you all you need to know about how to join the Discord, what channel to submit, and most importantly, what the kind of the instructions on how to do so. It is first come, first serve. However, if you want your cards to kind of be assessed a little bit faster, there is a subscription option currently through TikTok that grants you expedited grade review. But there's also going to be an upcoming subscription model in Discord to make it a little bit more streamlined and a little bit easier. So stay tuned for that. Crybaby just pulled Rainbow Mewtwo out of the Pogo pack. Do you know how rare that is? That's pretty sick. Congrats. I don't know how rare it is specifically because I don't know the rates, but that's awesome. Congrats. What do you think on this one for Beckett? Unfortunately, I've never graded with Beckett personally. I only kind of speak on behalf of PSA, only because I just have graded with them and have tracked my accuracy with them the longest, so it's kind of tough. Sounds good, Look. I appreciate you sticking by, and I'll see you around. Appreciate it. All right, so let's see the next one. So centering on this one actually looks really clean, which is always good. Quarter inch on the left, quarter inch on the right. Got about a little over 1/8 of an inch on the top, and about a quarter inch on the bottom. So yeah, I would say, unfortunately, for a 10 PSA, you're probably outside of that ratio, just from the bottom to the top, would be my guess. But again, I don't see any white in corners, which is always good. But I would say if you're going to measure the bottom to the top. Because right now the left and the right are pretty centered, but the bottom appears thicker than the top. But then, oh, nice. Be cool if I read chat. So basically what I was saying when I'm blocking it with the screenshot was that the bottom of this Rosa is thicker than the top. So I would say measure the bottom of here to the top. And if it's within that, you're looking good, but otherwise this is looking about to be a 9 in my opinion for PSA. But yeah, it'd be nice if I read chat every now and again, huh guys? All right. So next up, so the final one for Bjorn for today is the Sylveon VMAX from, well, this one I think is Eevee Heroes, but English is Evolving Skies. So, so with this, I'm actually glad that this is in the submission, because you guys, if you've ever wondered how to measure the centering of something like this, because this is really where it kind of gets you for sure, is this white section on the left and the right. So this is really common with like the Umbreon VMAX, the Espeon, the Glaceon, the Leafeon, the Altarts. So this is where you're really kind of gauging where that centering is. I do too, RQ, for sure. And I'm glad you're staying up for me. I don't know if it's like 3 o'clock for you or what, but so let's see. So that left side, quarter inch, right side, quarter inch. So centering so far in the front is really good. Let me just take a quick look at these corners real quick. Edges look good. Surface looks good. A sleepy Eevee on the table. That's always why I like this magnifying tool. You can kind of see a lot of really cool, intricate details. You got the Vaporeon on the tail. Almost looks like a Kangaskong in the background. Another Eevee on the tail. It's always cool to see. But let's not get too distracted here. Nice, RQ. All right, so honestly, the centering on this is really good. So I would say that, like, out of all 5, I think for this one, you are looking, I would probably submit this for sure. This is a pretty good contender. The centering is really good on both the front and the back. This might be, like, if I had to give, like, a possible 10 contender, this one's probably your best one, for sure. But, yeah. All right, so Bjorn, thank you as always for a really cool spread, really cool submission. And again, so I'm gonna go to who's up next. So next up, we have Jay King, another subscriber, and we got some Japanese vintage up on deck, which is always cool. So let us get right into it. So on right away, I can definitely tell that the left is a bit thicker than the right. Yeah, RQ, I'm seeing the same thing. So we do have some centering issues on the left to the right. But other than that, I'm not seeing any major scratches on the hollow. I'm just kind of looking for dents or anything like that that I can tell. But nothing standing out from what I can see on the front. So other than the centering, the surface of this card looks in pretty good shape. So, and also the back looks pretty good too. OC means off center, RQ. Because I only have one card that has the OC subgrade, qualifier. I don't know what, I forgot what PSA calls them, but Nuke, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. But on this one, again, really the big thing kind of holding this card back is the centering. So we have some on the bottom. So this is a little bit, what's nice about the older vintage Japanese is this red line makes it way easier to determine centering issues versus if I kind of go back to Bjorn's, like the centering for modern, it kind of has this like blurred line. David, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that as well. Older vintage makes it much easier to define. So on the bottom, this bottom part is a little bit thicker than the top. And as we go around though, the corners and edges look really good. The only thing that I see, and I hope you guys can see it I'll stream, I'll try to use the magnifier, is that I've seen this on a few Japanese. It's not uncommon, where it almost has like a weird like glossy type scratch, because the backs of these are kind of glossy to the touch. So sometimes I see those, and they're not uncommon on Japanese backs for vintage. So I definitely have seen those before. But besides that, I don't see any other issues with the back. So yeah. So just to kind of gauge chat's interpretation of centering, I'm going to start a new poll. So if you guys want to vote on what you think the grade would get, the poll should be active on the top left-hand corner of your device. Should look like a little clipboard if you want to weigh in on what you think this card would get. And while you guys are voting, I'll kind of catch up with chat real quick. Hey, Diana, how's it going? For the record, the Pidgey is still alive and well. I don't know when you left last night, but the Pidgey, I honestly, the Pidgey almost fainted. I'm not gonna lie to you. It got like double crit by Rocket Remy. So I'm doing great. Diana. Chilling. It's grade review time. It's nice to just kind of just talk with chat, hang out, look at some cool cards. So I always look forward to Wednesdays. But yeah, the Pidgey is alive and well. I can say that. And we just made it into Cerulean. So Misty is up next. All right, so we got a little bit of a spread here. So on average, you guys are thinking an 8, which honestly, I think you guys are right on point. Really, the biggest thing with this is just the centering. And the centering is off enough to where that will definitely put it into like that 9 or 8 category. But a lot of what I'm seeing, I'm not really seeing a lot of surface issues that are standing out to me. Again, I see most of these. This might be just like extreme with the lighting, but these are not uncommon. So I would probably agree with you guys in this case, that it's really just the centering alone that's putting this into the PSA 8 category. So good job, chat. Eagle Eye wanted to vote A5. Yeah, I mean, I've only seen a very small handful of 8.5s in my day for PSA. I know they do them. I definitely know that they do them, but it is interesting. I was told to be more strict. There you go. I know now, and I've been told, I've been seeing some of the comments. I've been told that I've been too strict. So I don't know. You get more strict, and I'll get less strict, and maybe we'll balance each other out. All right. So next up, we got the Meganium. Always a really cool Ken Sugimori artwork. I always love his style. A lot of people do. Big fan favorite. But the centering on this one a lot better than the Beedrill. That's for sure. However, looking at the corner, because I always kind of do, just for reference, Ben, thanks so much for liking the live. I appreciate it. So just for reference, I always tend to go counterclockwise for whatever reason. I really don't know why, to be honest. But I just always do. So I start in the top, and then as I go to the top left, I kind of see, and right where the tip of my mouse is, there's a little white dot on that top left-hand corner. So we do have to consider that as a deduction in the corner subgrade. So as we go to this left edge looks pretty good. Bottom left looks good. Bottom edge looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. Right edge looks good. So really, in terms of the corners and the edges on this front part, it's really just that top left that's kind of setting us back a little bit. Surface of the card looks really clean. No. Oh, it's nice. For those of you who are new here, I am a big sucker for swirls, and it looks like there's one kind of coming out of the nose of this Meganium. It kind of looks pretty cool. Right there. Looks like the beginning of a swirl. But no print lines, no major scratches, which is really good. So far, the only thing that I've seen is that corner, so... but on the back, however, we are seeing... Although the centering is a lot better. Centering is really good. We do see this left edge. So we see 1, 2, 3 small little dings there on that left side. And as we go up this right edge, we do have some whitening on that top right corner as well. But really just the whitening on the top right corner, the middle to bottom left edge, and the whitened dot on that top left-hand corner. That's really all I see. So again, we'll start another poll. Let's see what chat thinks, if I can get this going. Here we go. All right, so that poll should be active now. I should have popped up in the top left as a clipboard if you want to weigh in on what you think it's going to be. But yeah, I was honestly expecting a lot more scratches on the holo just based off of the little whitened spot on that top left. But the whitening on the back, that's where probably the score for your edge as well as the corner are going to be kind of hit a little bit to bring that down. But as you guys are voting, I'm just going to catch up with you guys real quick. So let's see. Love watching these. Didn't realize I hadn't followed you. Oh, I appreciate that, Nuke. Thanks so much. I always love the lurkers. You know, I always appreciate the lurkers. I was there until I fell asleep. Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm glad you're back. When's the next stream for Yellow? Hopefully soon. I want to do dedicated for Tuesdays at least, but for Pokemon Yellow, those are kind of easier to kind of like randomly sneak in. So it's a bit tougher. Your mom. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Thanks, Nuke. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. 8.5 better than a 9. I mean, it's kind of like it's more of like eye of the beholder, because obviously the higher the grade, the more valuable it is. Like what normal schoolgirl is saying. But 8.5s are pretty rare in their own right. So if you get that like niche collector that are looking for 8.5s, you might be able to squeeze a little bit more, but that's kind of splitting hairs. Vince, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. All right, so let us take a look, and you guys are kind of split. So we have like by one vote, you guys are saying 8. All right, so what am I thinking this Meganium would get? So centering on both the front and the back is really good. However, the only thing that I see again on the front is just that white spot on the top left, but on the back, it's this on the top right as well as this left edge. So the question really becomes, is this an 8 or a 7? Because I don't think it's a 6. So normally how I kind of do it, if you guys ever want like a quick rule of thumb, so I normally equate raw condition to certain grade values. So for example, if I thought this was light play, that's me saying I think it would get a PSA 6. Versus if I think it's near mint, at minimum, it would be a PSA 7 or higher. But when we get to near mint plus, that's where you're starting to get into PSA 8s, 9s, and 10s. So the question is, do I think with this whitening on this left edge in the top right corner, as well as this small white speck on the top left, with no holo scratches, do I think that's near mint plus? And I would probably say that I probably would have to say a 7, because I just think that I just don't know if this like whitening is as bad as it's looking, which is like kind of under this like microscope tool. If it's not that bad, I could see it being an 8. But that was like really what caught my eye. But I don't know. Maybe you might be lucky with an 8. So it might be worth it if you're trying to look for the 8. But I guess like more conservative, I would probably say a 7 because of that whitening on that left edge, the corner on the back, and that whitening on the front too. So I don't know. I might be wrong here, but my gut says 7 just because of that. But still solid. The fact that there's no hollow scratches from what I can tell is really good. So Jay, do you know a PSA percentage? So I believe the last time I checked that the ratio for 10 is 50-50 to 55-45 on the front at least. So I think you're talking about the front, but I don't know. For 60-40, I think once you get there, it's like 9 or 8. I can't remember. Jay, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you. Your opinion, what's the lowest estimated grade worth to submit a base Zard? So it's kind of hard. That's a really like long explanation to like, I'm not trying to dodge the question, but it really just depends on what you initially bought it at. So like, for example, if it was like your childhood collection, you can in theory say that you got it for free, right? Unless you kept the receipt back in 98 or whenever you bought it out of a pack or whatever, which I doubt you did or your parents did. But you know, if you got it for essentially free and it's going to cost you probably, like depending on condition, it probably cost you like $20 to grade or 25 if you don't have a collector's club membership. So that's kind of where I go for like when someone asks me, is it worth to submit X card? I always ask like what you bought it at originally, because that's going to have impact. For those of you who don't know, what's called your ROI or your return on investment. But yeah, that's also a good rule of thumb too, Chris. If you ever want to see, like, if you think it's near mint and you look up a near mint price, if it's like 200, and you know, going by like what I was talking about, like near mint, like conservative, say it's a PSA 7, so compare that. But that's what's nice about these grade reviews. It kind of gives you the tools to kind of determine, you know, what makes a PSA 7, like what we just showed here, right? The kind of going back to this Meganium, right? Like what are we looking for? What differentiates between a 7 or an 8? So that'll kind of help you as well. So, all right. So next up, we got another really cool Beedrill. Yeah, I would say if it's childhood, like I'd just say go for it, honestly. If it were me personally. But like if you're just like keeping it for your personal collection, like why not? You know what I mean? If price isn't in it, like if you're not intending on selling it, if you just want to kind of like preserve your childhood collection. So I'd say go for it. Who cares? All right. So next up, we got the Beedrill looking at some cacti. From Neo Discovery. Yes, Discovery. I don't know why I got stuck on Revelation. Centering looks good. We do see some. Like a small ding on that top right there, the tip of my mouse. Corner good. Bottom corner good. Bottom edge good. Bottom right corner good. Right edge good. Slight white dot on that top right. But all in all, so far from this Japanese little lot here, the holofoil has been in pristine condition, and the surface has been in pristine condition. It's really just the edges and corners that I've seen so far. And centering is good. However, we are seeing some whitening on the back here. Got there one on the top. That corner's good. This left edge is good. Bottom left corner good. Bottom edge got some slight whitening, but not too bad. Really, the only thing, just based off of this light, you can kind of see this these small scratches on the surface here. So we got one there. You know, more so more towards like the light. We have one right there by the S. Have some right here, more towards that top right. So really, the biggest thing that I'm seeing so far on the back is these little small white dots on the kind of more of the edges, but mostly the scratches on the surface. So let's see, poll time. What do you guys think this Beedrill would get? So poll should be active, and I'll catch up with chat while you guys are voting. So here's the front of the Beedrill. Hollow is just in pristine condition. And then the back, we have some whitening on the top, some scratches on the surface, as well as some whitening slight whitening on kind of the left the left area. So that's that poll. If you want to vote, it should be a little clipboard in the top left-hand corner of your device if you want to weigh in on what you think this Beedrill would get. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to catch up with chat. Let's see. How much would they charge if they got an 8 or something? So you have to basically do the declared value before you submit your card to PSA. I will say that we as non-PSA employees are submitting to PSA for them to be the professionals. So you don't, even if you think something is going to get a 9 or a 10, you don't necessarily have to declare it as a 9 or a 10 in terms of declared value, because again, we're not the professionals technically. So I normally do like 8s is like a soft, like a soft good cushion on declaring value. So that's kind of how I do it. Yeah, scratches are pretty rough on this one for sure. But these cards are old. This was made what in? Oh, Japanese doesn't say when it was manufactured. I can't remember. I don't know them. English strikes again. All right, so let's stop this poll. Am I just blind? Does it say 1996? I don't see it. I must be blind. I am blind. Great Wizard helping me out. I am blind. I'm always so used to looking at the red lines on the back and never like the text here. So the Great Wizard summoning his spell of reading. So I appreciate that. All right, so chat, you guys are thinking on average is actually pretty close. 8 through 7 or 6, but the average was 7 to 6. So for this Beedrill, again, the front is really good. Very, very small ding on the top and the whitened edge on that, or the whitened corner on the top right, but not that bad. Again, the hollow is really immaculate. No print lines, no major scratches, really cool. We flip it over, however, more of the damage is on the back than it was on the front. So we have a white nick on the top, has some surface scratches, and some very, very mild whitening on the back, but nothing too crazy. So I would probably say for this one, more so because of the whitened dot up top, but I'm trying to think here. We got some whitening on the bottom edge and on that right side, or not, sorry, not the right side, the left side. The question becomes, do I think this would be light play or near mint? I would say based off of how good, the thing holding this strong is how good this image is in terms of seeing no damage on that hollow in the front side of this card. That card looks really good, right? We're not seeing any major scratches anywhere on the front. It's really just the kind of the back. So I would probably say, if I were to compare raw to graded, I would most likely say that if there is any more damage, we're kind of dancing around that 6 area, but I would probably say a 7, in my opinion, for a grade. But definitely like low near mint, high LP. So you might be able to squeak away with a 7, but other than that, not too bad. What are my favorite slabs visually? So you're talking, so just to make sure I'm understanding you, Nuke. So you're talking about like, do I like PSA slabs or Beckett slabs or CGC slabs? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, that's awesome, Darkrai. Congrats. It's always good to see those 10s coming in. I don't really know, to be honest, Nuke. If you want my honest opinion, I don't really like, the only reason why I go with PSA is just for me as a small business. There is just on average, you just get a higher return on your investment if you go through PSA. But in terms of like visually, like what slabs do I prefer? There's not like one that I like over another, if I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of see it just from, because I'm like a big data guy. I think like for data perspective, like I think having those subgrades is kind of cool, from like Beckett's perspective. So like not even like an artistic style or like a design style. I think from a data perspective, seeing subgrades is kind of cool. But that's about it. How much does a reverse Hollow Venusaur legendary go for? I have no idea. Not on the top of my head. I would have no idea. But probably TCG Player might be your best bet, but I don't even know if they have enough sales data because that's a very like older, obscure card, and I also don't know what condition it's in. So that'd probably be where I'd start though. All right, so next up, kind of sticking with this Neo train. So we got a Neo Rev train, and oh, there it is, chat. My favorite old school kind of niche collector in me is these swirls. It's always nice to see, for sure. But yeah, of course, chat with Matt. Of course. All right, so centering on this is really good, as well as the corners and edges. Man, this one is really good. And I don't know why I just noticed this, but the illustrator from this is probably now one of my favorite. Illustrated by Big Mama. Big Mama made this Magneton. That's so funny. I don't know why I'm just seeing that now. All right. Big Mama's Magneton. The Big Mama has made this immaculate. Blessed us with the swirl, so that's always cool. So let's flip it on over. This is an extremely clean card, chat. You know, from what we saw, like just even like quickly, right? So this was the Beedrill. This was the Meganium. And so now we have this really good looking back on this Magneton. Big Mama cooked up something special, chat. And we got to respect it. Centering is really good. Corners are really good. Edges are really good. Really the only thing if I had to critique, it looks like I don't know if that's dust or not though. That might either be dust or a small scratch. But they go off the whitening on the sides. Sometimes, chat with Matt. So sometimes with like how the pictures are taken, sometimes it is like the angle in which they're taken from. So for example, the light is coming from the right side of this card. So it almost makes it appear as though there might be some whitening on the edge. But I think this right here, if this is what you're referring to, this more than likely is more of like a light reflection off of the card and less of any damage would be my guess. And what's nice is that J King's actually in chat, so you can kind of verify this for us. But that's normally what anytime I see something like this, that's what I'm normally kind of gravitating towards, is it just being a light reflecting off. But yeah, I'd say that's probably dust. This may be dust, but I'm not too sure. So it's just light, okay. But these might be two scuffs or dust, I'm not too sure. But you said this is dust. If this is dust, this has a pretty good shot at a 10, in my honest opinion. Unless there's like a print line that I'm not seeing or anything like that I'm not seeing on the card. This is probably your cleanest one so far, for sure. That's awesome. Oh, have you already submitted these, J King, too? I think you might have said it. I apologize if you have, but this one's definitely your cleanest one for sure. This one's probably like definitely a solid 9. Hopefully you get the 10, unless that's also a hair or something too. That might I just saw that too. That might knock you down. I'm not too sure what that is. That might even make you go into an 8 now that I see that, if that is a scratch. But if it's a hair, then you're still in that good part. But if it's not, that might not be a 9. But actually a really clean card. All right, and then this one, if I remember you saying correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said that what you saw or what you submitted, that it was a hair. What looks like to be, oh, it was the reverse. What looks like to be a hair on the front are actually scratches. I see. So these are scratches. Okay. All right, the OG Moonbryon. This one's honestly my favorite one. Like if I had to pick one, if I had to pick the OG Umbreon versus the Umbreon VMAX that everyone's loving right now, this by far is my favorite one for sure. It just looks more, I don't know. I could talk about this forever, but this one's my favorite one. Centering is good. Edge, we do have some edge wear on that top right. And again, that's that dirt mark, chat, if you ever have something like this on your card, you can probably get rid of this with either a microfiber cloth or Q-tip and some distilled water. So that's probably an easy fix. We do have some whitening on that left edge. Another one on that left edge. So this one's definitely a little bit... the back is all just dust. Gotcha. So if that's dust, then yeah, you're definitely in that 9-10 range for sure. Let's see. It is a little bit... now that I look at it a little bit more, this left side almost looks a little bit thicker than that right side. But yeah, just some general dirt and stuff you can probably get cleaned off. And then you're saying that these are actually scratches and not little hairs or anything like that, which is, you know, as to be expected for some of these cards. They are extremely old. But again, it will, for transparency, for those of you who are wondering, this will take back on that surface grade, for sure. But no major hollow issues that I can tell. Nice swirl right there near the ear. I mean, that's what I would do, J King. If you got these for cheap or these were in your personal collection or whatever, I would definitely do the same thing. Have some dirt there on the back and the tail. So let's flip it on over. And yeah, this card's definitely loved for sure. Definitely loved. Have some whitening there. Whitening all along that left edge, as well as that. Almost have some folding on that left edge as well. Bottom. All along that right edge. So this right edge is actually is whitening as well. Have some dirt that can probably get cleaned off by the pocket section. And at the top of that Pokeball, you could probably get cleaned off. But yeah, this one's always like, I actually like cards like this for grade review streams because I always find it fascinating on how diverse or dead on chat is. So we are going to start a new poll. So you should see a clipboard that just popped up on the top left hand corner of your screen. If you want to tap that and vote on what you think this Umbreon, the OG Moonbreon, would get. So again, this is the front of the Umbreon. Got some scratches, has some dirt, has some kind of curled edges, has some whitening on that left side. And when we flip it over, this is kind of where I'll probably leave it because this is where most of the issues are. Got some whitening on the edges and corners pretty much all over the card. But yeah, if you want to vote on what you think this card would get, the poll should be active. There's a little blue clipboard in the top left-hand corner of your phone. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. Maximus, thanks so much for following the live. I appreciate you. Thanks so much. And for those of you who have followed, liked, and shared the live so far, I definitely appreciate it. It always means a lot to me, to be honest, that you guys like this style of content. Again, this is a completely free service that I offer to the community once a week. And it's always nice to hear that you guys appreciate the feedback and appreciate the insight from someone who just likes to collect shiny cardboard on the side. So it definitely means a lot. And Normal, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I got the Espeons and the Moonbreons together for 125. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, these are definitely beautiful cards for sure. Like, regardless, they're just amazing. Yeah, I appreciate the love, guys. Really do. All right, so let me end the poll real quick. Okay, so let's see. Let me just do this. Just checking in real quick. All right, so chat average is 5 to 4. It was actually really close between 7 or 6 and 5 and 4. So now that we have the chat grade, what do I think this would get? So really just a lot of just damage and nicks subtly on the corners and edges and surface. Centering's a little bit off on the left to the right. But again, all these little scratches are pretty apparent on the front and more in like the text area. But really the big thing that I'm not seeing, which is a good thing, is any creases. So normally when I see creases, that makes this decision much easier. I'd probably say immediately like 4, depending on the severity of the crease. But in this case, I don't believe that it would be harsh enough to get a 4, so I'd probably say, just based off of the whitening and some of the stuff that can probably be cleaned off, like these little dirt marks, I would probably say a 5 would be my guess. But yeah. So thanks again, King. Really cool spread here. Had some really cool looking cards to go through a lot of the old school Neo stuff. So I appreciate it as always. And let's just keep on keeping on. Let me clear those grades. And next up, and the final submission for the subs before we go into the non-subs, we have Taco. So we have some cool modern stuff to go through. And this is really important if you guys are ever into trying to grade modern. I'll try to do my best to kind of explain, because it's going to be a little bit quicker, because in most cases when people submit modern cards for grade review, they're really wanting to know whether or not it's going to be 10 or bust, essentially. Jay Cowboy, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So that's kind of what I like to kind of to focus on. So these kind of go pretty quick, but I'm going to show you for a few on what to really look for when trying to get your modern cards, or try to hunt for modern cards that have the potential for a 10. So the main two spots that I like to look at right off the bat is first centering. Centering is going to be the main, like the make or break for modern when it comes to whether or not it's going to get the 10 or not. So again, what I like to do is, if you have a ruler or a centering tool makes it a little bit easier, but a ruler just does just as well. Is that we want to try to be within 55-45 ratio, preferably 50-50, to get as close to a 10 if we're grading through PSA as possible. So from the angle that I see on this, the left edge is slightly above 1/8 of an inch, because I'm literally pushing a ruler up to my monitor. So when I say 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch, that's what I refer to. And the right side is also just above 1/8 of an inch. So far the left and the right is centered pretty well. However, the bottom, the bottom is just slightly above the 1/8 of an inch, but the top is right at or slightly below 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm seeing, based off of what I'm measuring, the bottom is very, very slightly thicker than the top, but it might be within that 55-45 ratio. So I always recommend measuring for yourself as well. So when we go in the back, the other thing aside from centering is any whitened corners. So we always want to make sure that there are no whitened corners. And I'm assuming this is probably a lighting issue, but just to use it as an example. So for like right where the tip of my mouse is, it might be a little bit hard to see on stream, but the tip of my mouse, if that was a white dot, this would not get the 10. So even if it's so small and barely noticeable, if you can see it like real quick, in most cases of it, unless it's like a piece of dust, they can just simply wipe off. It's not going to get that 10. So definitely measure this looks to be good on stream, but definitely measure the top and the bottom. Those are the main areas of concern. So next up we have the Charizard EX from 151. So centering on this one, actually the front of this looks really good for centering. So let's see, left is just above 1/8 of an inch, right is also the same, and then the top we are looking at just above 1/8 of an inch, and the bottom just above 1/8 of an inch. So the centering on this front is actually really good. So hopefully on the back we have the same. Yeah, I would say that this is a good contender. This Japanese Charizard EX, just from the centering and the lack of any whitening on the corners, it's a really good, really good sign. So this one I'd probably submit. This has a pretty good chance. Pratt, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So I'd say this one I would probably submit as well. Has a good shot at a 10. So this one, Johnner, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. So this one does appear to be slightly thicker on the right than it does on the left, but let's measure. Oh, I appreciate that, Pratt. Thanks so much for the kind words. yeah, I just do this totally for free. I just like to kind of chill with chat, try to give my insight on grading. I've been grading with PSA since 2017, so I kind of kept track of my accuracy throughout the years, and I just kind of give what I've learned and try to answer as many questions as I can for you guys. So if that goes for anyone, if anyone has any questions about grading or just anything in particular, I'm more than happy to answer anything that you got for me. So I definitely appreciate the kind words. Comical, thanks so much for the follow. Awesome, Pratt. Well, yeah, if you another thing I'd probably recommend too, and I'll mention it after this Charizard actually, so just hold tight. The centering on the back looks really good too. So I would say double check. So far from what I can tell on the screen, possibly on the bottom to the top and the right to the left, maybe slight off center, but it might just be how the angle is. So I would say that those would be kind of like your homework assignment to measure that. But the back looks really good. I don't see any whitening on the back, based off of what I can tell. That might be... I don't think that's anything, actually. But yeah, that's actually really good. So yeah, so I would say if anyone is interested in how to submit your cards for grade review, so on screen right now is a screenshot of one of the pinned videos I have on my channel. So it's called Grade Review and How To. It's about a 45-second video. It'll teach you everything you need to know about how to join the Discord, what channel to submit for your cards for grade review. And most importantly, I can't emphasize this enough, on the instructions on how to properly submit. Because, for example, if you submit a card that's in a sleeve or in a top loader, unfortunately, I can't grade it because it makes it very hard for us as stream to properly assess, because we don't know if the scratch is on the top loader or on the sleeve or whatever. So just make sure, just so you don't get kicked out, because it is a first come, first serve basis. Again, completely free. And when I mean kicked out, I mean kicked out of queue. Just make sure to follow those rules. But yeah, we do this for free every Wednesday. It's super fun. I really enjoy doing it with the community. And the Discord, we also have some really cool giveaways. We have a lot more like behind the scenes stuff and a lot of like feedback that I get from you guys in chat from the Discord. I try to apply to the streams just to continuously improve and make these better for you guys. So definitely appreciate the feedback through there, and joining the Discord is probably the best way to do it, and as well as grade review. So next up we have, and I know I've looked this up before, but I have to look it up again. Kieran, K-I-E-R-A-N. I don't know if I butchered that name, but again, the candy apple's coming out again. I'm a big candy apple fan. So I'd say right off the bat, you forgot you're here. Well, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks so much for coming back from lurking. So I would say right off the bat, Austin, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. So Pratt and anyone else, so if you guys are into new for grading, this is a good example on a modern card that probably wouldn't get a 10. And so why that is we can see that the left edge and the right edge, for centering rather, looks to be pretty centered, right? So this looks to be the same size as this. However, if we look at the bottom, so the bottom edge or the bottom part of the card compared to the top, you can see that if you were to kind of put these side by side, this top part looks much thinner than the right. So again, if I push this ruler up, Will, thanks so much for the follow. Thanks so much. So if I measure with my ruler, the bottom, from my perspective, is just shy of a 1/4 inch. Whereas if I look on the top, it's just shy of 1/8 of an inch. So what that means is that it's thicker, or off center, quote unquote, from the bottom to the top. So it'd be considered off center in that regard. But other than that, the centering on the back looks actually pretty good, and I don't see any whitened corners or edges or anything like that. So unfortunately, this would be yes, we are, Will. Yep, we're just talking about PSA grades. So that's where the centering would be, that this would be off center. So I do not believe that this card would get a PSA 10, because the bottom, right where that silver border is much thicker than the top before you kind of get to where the name is, where its support would be and stuff like that. So yeah. Do I provide PSA options on vintage? Yes, Austin. We actually just finished a bunch of Japanese vintage here, just as an example, that J King did. We also just looked at a Venusaur not too long ago. So yeah, we look at all sorts of different cards. That's why I love grade review so much. We see a bunch of really cool cards. BGS, did you do it in person? Did you do an in-person grade, or did you do like their reference, or not reference, like their what they, I don't know what the service is called, but you can basically not get it graded, but they tell you what they think it is. Basically like a grade, like a paid grade review, like what we're doing now. Evaluation. I don't know why I couldn't remember the word evaluation, but which program are you using at the moment? Honestly, I'm just using Chrome. I just have the images from Discord on, if you looked at my tabs, I have about 50 tabs right now. And then the tool I use for zooming in, like what you're seeing right now, it's actually really good if you're doing like eBay and stuff like that too. So the Chrome extension is called Magnifying Glass Hover Zoom, is what I use to kind of show this like zoomed in around my mouse function. But yeah. All right, so the last one for Taco. Centering on this looks really good. Again, for those of you who are trying to wonder what centering is just this silver border. So when we look compared to this one, if I go back, so we can kind of see where this was thicker on the bottom than it was on the top. If we go to the Zapdos, you can kind of see all edges look very well centered. One side isn't thicker or thinner than the other. So far, this is a very well centered Zapdos. However, I do see, and again, that's what's really nice about tools like this hover zoom. Hey Dream, how's it going? Thanks for the like, and I appreciate you sticking around. What's going on? I do see some scratch right here, so I'll kind of keep my mouse here. Hopefully you guys can see. You might even have to turn your brightness up on your phone. But towards that corner, you do see that scratch there. So kind of going back to those who are new to grading, that would be impacting what's called the surface score. So that scratch is impacting the overall surface. If that scratch wasn't there, this would be a pretty good PSA 10 contender. However, since that scratch is there, since all four criteria, which is centering, corners, edges, and surface, are all averaged together. For example, if the assessor thought that was going to be an 8 for centering, or not centering, for surface, and then everything else was 10, it would average to not be a 10. So I'd probably say that scratch alone is probably going to prevent it from being a 10. So that's just my 2 cents. So right, left is not as important as top, bottom. I'd say all of it is. It's more of the front or back as well, Will. Because the ratio, obviously you want to go for 50-50 ratio for top, bottom, and left and right. As well as the front and back. But there is a little bit of wiggle room for PSA. It's about 55-45 to still be considered. But yeah, I would say like one side, top or bottom, or left and right, like one doesn't trump the other. But that's just kind of how it goes. All good. T. When do I do this again? I do this on when do I do this? Next Wednesday. So grade review episode 20 is next Wednesday, which is crazy. Is it 60-40? I thought it was 55-45, but I could be wrong. I have a little sheet that I just don't have in front of me. Is there a corner issue on the top? Yeah, that's what I was just going over, Will. You can kind of see this scratch right here. So this probably wouldn't get the 10. Would be my guess, but all right. So that makes it up. And just Chris, we just finished Taco's last of Zap, like probably one of my favorite Illustrator rares from 151. I think the Zapdos and the Alakazam are probably my 2 favorites. So J King and Taco, thank you so much, and Bjorn for both subscribing to the TikTok and having your cards submitted. So let me get the next one. So now we're in the non-subs. So let me take a look. So next up we have Flyaway Joker. So let's take a look at where you are at. Gonna have to go up here. We have to go all the way back to May almost. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so got some Master Ball stuff. I know a lot of people are interested in getting Master Ball complete sets. So it's always fun to me, like how many different collector goals that people have. It's always really cool. Poke Safari, thanks so much for liking the live. I appreciate it. I appreciate you checking them out. I've never seen that scratch. Yeah, right. Well, I appreciate you submitting them, Stealth. I definitely do. All right, let me, before I just go insane, delete group. Oh, perfect. Here we go. Delete that. Delete that. All right. Because I literally had, I'm not kidding, I had like 50 tabs open. C, thanks so much for following the live. When do I do this again? I do this next Wednesday. So that would be June 5th. I can't believe it's already June. How much do they ding the corners? It all depends, Will. I would say, I'd say the longer you stick in here, like the longer you kind of attend these grade reviews, you kind of get a sense of, like, depending on how rough they are, on how much a whitened corner. Like, I would say if it's like a pack fresh, like barely visible, you're probably looking at a 9 if that's the only thing wrong with it. But again, we do both vintage and modern, all ranging in different issues, and we even looked at cards that had like PSA 1 potential. So hopefully, if you attend enough of these, you'll kind of get a sense of how much certain damage will kind of weigh on a grade. If that makes sense. Okay. So next up is Flyaway Joker. So first off, we got again, a very sought after collector goal for some who collect 151 Japanese, which is the Master Ball reverse rare. So if you guys have ever seen this before, the reverse holo could have either a Pokeball or a Master Ball. So this is one of the Master Ball ones, which is always cool. So let's get right into it. So since it's at an angle, it's a little bit tougher to measure. I think we also have a front shot too, which is good. To measure centering. But this angle, I don't see any major scratches, because obviously reverse holos are always tough. But this one doesn't appear to have any, which is good. So unfortunately, if I measure... Oh, my cat just jumped on my ruler. So if I measure the bottom, so the bottom is right between a quarter and an eighth. The top is right at an eighth. So right off the bat, the bottom is thicker than the top, which to me would indicate that it probably wouldn't get that 10, but I guess it just depends. But I'd probably say, again, it's either 60-40 or 55-45. I can't remember on the top of my head. But this probably wouldn't get the 10. So next up, we have Erica. Let's see. Yeah, Aiden. That's actually a good point. Just in case if anyone is also wondering, this is what the thumbnail looks like. What my mod Chris has said. So the video is called Grade Review and How To. It's about 45 seconds. It teaches you how to join the Discord, what channel to submit. Again, this is a completely free service, unless you want it expedited, because it is a first come first serve. Expedited grade review, there is a subscription that you can get that kind of bumps you up the queue. But regardless, there's the channel for that, and then the Discord also has giveaways and a bunch of other cool behind the scenes. And I also get your guys' feedback to make the streams better. So definitely check that out. But this is the video to get there. Grade review and how to. It's about 45 seconds. Man, I'd love to learn how to train my eyes to grade. Yeah, right. Well, Hannah, I appreciate you hanging out, and hopefully, seeing some cards kind of gives you some examples, and it helps kind of give some of that confidence too. And that's what's kind of nice about these. And thanks for the follow, Hannah. I appreciate that, because it's also like you can kind of look at your cards and we kind of learn together as a community without you having to pay PSA or pay someone else to do it for you. So that's what I really like about doing grade reviews for you guys. I really enjoy it. I really do enjoy supporting the community, and yeah, so that's why it follows, shares, likes. It really does mean a lot. Wild Dwarf, thanks so much for the follow. All right, so the centering again, man. It's I really hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but it's for whatever reason the back to back, the bottom to the top is what's been holding you back the most. Let's see. So we're just over an eighth of an inch on the bottom. But on that top, I think it also is like the angle, because it does look like it's at a slight angle. But yeah, you're basically like half into like an eighth of a 16th. So that's that bottom is a bit thicker than the top, for sure. But man, that's what's really holding me back is that the bottom to the top for the centering. Some do, yes. But it also is the same for like this Haunter. That's kind of what I'm referring to as well. But I got a big collection of Mews with the challenge of collecting them all. Only 15 to go. That's really cool, Hannah. Well, if you join the Discord, we'd love to see, because we have a collections we have a collections channel that people share their collections for, so that'd be really cool to see. We love seeing cards that we can't own. All right, so Lady. Let's see. Any major scratches? No, I don't see any. That's what's always tough with textured cards like this. It makes it a little bit difficult to see certain scratches within these textures. But let's see. I don't even know if I can measure that top and bottom. Let's see. Got 1/8 of an inch on the top. And just above an 1/8. You might be within from the top to bottom. And then I do see possibly some scratches here now that I kind of see a different angle. You see kind of one right here. Thanks for the corn, Wicked. Yum, yum, yum. Give me that corn. Do see some scratches there. We got 1, 2, possibly, but I'm not too sure. But the back looks really good too. Those corners look good. So I'd say like out of the 3, this one has probably the best shot. Unless these are scratches, like right above and below where my mouse is. But again, it's kind of tough to see. But that would be what I would check. Chris, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so that was Flyaway Joker submission. So thank you for that. And then next up is Damn. So let's take a look at yours. Let's get this loaded up. And while I do that, Robin the Goat, thanks so much for the follow. Yeah, I agree, Semi. I agree. And then I'll leave that screenshot. If anyone wants to know how to submit your cards for free, that is the way to get to the Discord. It's a pinned video on my TikTok channel. It's about a 45-second video, and it'll teach you how to join it, how to get to the Discord, what channels to submit, and then most importantly, can't emphasize this enough, is the instructions on how to properly submit, because I can't, unfortunately, review cards that are either in a sleeve or a top loader, because it makes it a little bit challenging for us as the viewer to determine if a scratch is on the case or on the sleeve or whatever. It just makes it easier for that not to be there. So definitely check that out if you are interested. Wicked, thanks so much for sharing the live. Appreciate it as always. You guys are the homies, for sure. All right. So get rid of these, because that is not the submission. All right, so next up is Damn. We got some Morty going on. A really sought after card currently. So let us take a gander. So Morty. So left. About 1/4 inch. Awesome, Hannah. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to either reach out to me or some of my moderators. We're more than happy to help you out. So the left and right were good. So far, so good, chat. However, I don't know. Again, it might be just the texture or what, but it's kind of tough. It might be the texture. I might just be kind of trying to look for something. But right where the tip of my mouse is, that might be a dent. I don't know though. So cool to find this channel. I appreciate that, Sour. How do you measure them right now? I'm not kidding. I have a ruler that I use that I push up against my monitor. So that's why it's like, You gotta kind of take with my measuring with a grain of salt, because I'm literally putting a clear, transparent ruler, pressing it against my monitor, and measuring it that way. So definitely, it's definitely one of those trust but verify kind of thing. Like, if, you know, trust that I'm kind of looking at the right thing, but verify as well. So unfortunately, that's kind of odd for a modern. Unless you can get rid of this, there's some like dirt or something on the back of that, right where the tip of my mouse is, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, if you can get that clean, that'd be great. But because it doesn't look like an ink dot, but could be wrong. Yes, semi, definitely. You definitely use centimeters. Mine is like, my ruler, if I could show it, is like comically big. It just makes it easier for me just to like really quickly do it, because I can like fold the fold the ruler into the monitor. But yeah, using one that's like centimeter definitely gives you the most accuracy. But no corner issues, no centering issues. But really, that's the big one. That dot right there is if you can get that fixed or not. So if you can't, that might hold you back, to be honest, for surface. But, and this possibly being a dent, but I don't know if it's just the texture. But those would be the only two that I don't think you'd get the 10 for. But now this one, the Giratina V-Star, the centering is really good on this one. The left 1/4 inch, right 1/4 inch, top 1/4 inch, and bottom 1/4 inch. So really good centering on that front. Mule, thanks so much for sharing the live. Back. Oh man, chat, we are so close. I wonder if you guys can see the first thing I saw when I flipped this over. Let's see if anyone catches it. This is a test, chat. I have my ruler. The teacher is in class, mowing down on his corn and ice cream. Yes, you guys are seeing it at the bottom right. I don't know what that is. That almost looks like a ding or something. But that is unfortunate. That's probably the only, literally, if that was not there, this would be a pretty easy PSA 10 contender, because the centering was phenomenal. But the fact, if that is a dent to some degree, that's not gonna cut it. That is super unfortunate. Dang. F's in the chat for the Giratina V-Star for the small dent. The dent that held it back. That's crazy. But what we say, chat, if there's issues on the back, it's a good binder card, because you never take it out. You never take it out of the binder. No one will ever see it. No one will ever see it. What about the top right by the corner? Are you talking about the front? Hey, Zubair, how's it going? Back top right. I don't think I see anything. Back top right. Yeah, I don't think I see anything. Awesome, Zubair. Well, welcome. What do I think this would get? Centering is good. It's probably either like an 8. Because dents have a pretty big impact. I'm not gonna lie to you. On cards. It might just be the card, which, because I'm to be honest, I'm kind of struggling to see it. But if that is a dent, that'd probably get an 8. I am doing a free grade review, Pony. So we just finished reviewing this Giratina V-Star. And now we're going to go to 40. Which, man, oh man, the swirls are apparent on this one. So someone was asking if I review vintage. And I just noticed that this was in a sleeve. I don't know why I didn't see it on... I think I don't know why I didn't see it. I think it was because of the thumbnail on Discord. I couldn't, like, because it's like almost like a tight fit sleeve. We should be able, like, the fact that there's no glare, it just made it. But we'll deal with what we got. I guess that was an oversight on my part. I have a card I'd like to get looked at. Oh, nice. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it, Ben. All right, so next up we have the Giovanni's Gyarados. So let's take a look. Centering is pretty good. Nice little swirl there. How do you send cards to you? So before I go onto the back of this Gyarados, so if you look at the screen right now, you should see a screenshot of one of my pinned videos called Grade Review and How To. It's on my TikTok. It's about a 45-second video. It'll teach you how to join the Discord, what channel to submit for grade review, and most important, and again, this was a total oversight on my part, so I apologize, is that it'll give you instructions on how to properly submit your cards for grade. So yeah, completely free, unless you want your cards expedited, because it is a first come, first serve basis. There is a subscription through TikTok currently, but there is also going to be one through Discord that gives you expedited grade review as well. So yeah, that's how you do it. So let's flip her on over. And the first thing I notice is a whitened corner right there in the bottom left. But other than that, not seeing too much else, to be honest. That's why I probably didn't see that there's a sleeve on it, because there's not like a major glare that I could tell from the thumbnail of the photo. So this one isn't like a big. I don't think we really need grade, like, chat grade review on this one. Centering looks pretty good, because I don't see any scratches that are apparent. Really, it's just like that white dot in the left right here. So you're probably, for that one, unless there's something else, probably an 8 would be my guess, just because of that white dot being a little bit thicker. But maybe 9 if they're getting lucky, but because I don't know if there's any other scratches on the holo, so I'd probably say an 8 to be a little bit conservative. Yeah, you don't actually like physically send them to me, Ben. You just send pictures through the Discord. But yeah, it's all pictures that you guys submit to me. You think getting a 151 Zard and Blastoise trio? So when you say trio, I'm assuming you also got the Venusaur? But I honestly don't know. I would say your best bet. Oh, I see what you're saying. The Zard and the Blastoise evolutionary line for 120. I mean, it sounds like a steal, but because I know like Squirtle is probably what, 25, 30 bucks, just on the top of my head. So I'd say just go on to TCG Player, and then as long as they're all near mint, that's the best way to do it. But I mean, it sounds good. All right, so centering, because we are looking at a modern Charizard V. Left is 1/8 of an inch. Right is wait, no, hold on. I definitely measured that wrong. I don't know what I was measuring. So the left is 1/4 inch. The right is 1/4 inch. The top is just shy of 1/4 inch, and the back is just on a 1/4 inch. So this appears to be a good contender. The only thing that I can tell, but again, is I'm kind of like kicking myself because I should have asked you to take these out of the sleeve, but the thumbnail in the Discord made me not think it. I'm assuming this scratch is on the sleeve, but if that white dot is not on the sleeve and on the card, probably you might be able to sneak in a 10, but probably not because it's a Zard. But centering looks really good. So this one probably be a good contender for sure. Would we call this modern? It's def not vintage. Yeah, I would say this Charizard V is modern for sure. For me personally, like I consider like vintage, I don't know, like anything like Wizards of the Coast era is like a really easy line, because like once you start to get into like Gen 3, Gen 4, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where you start to get in, but and then for the centering on this one's actually really good. I brought these up before, but with these tag teams, the centering of this is actually super hard to get a good grade on, because you have this black border that's essentially you essentially have to measure the centering twice. You have to measure the silvering, like the silver edge or the silver border, as well as the black border within. So like if it's equal silvering on the left as well as the right from the black line, these are always really tough. Spider, thanks so much for the follow, and Ragnarok, thanks so much for liking the live. And if I missed anyone else that's liked or shared or followed, I definitely appreciate you guys very much so. I try to do this for free of charge. It's a fun thing I like to offer to the community, just to kind of offer my insight on grading. So I definitely appreciate it. Ends number 1 GF. Thanks for following. And if you join the Discord, you definitely have a bunch of other N fans in our Discord for sure. So you might have to defend your position. So let's see. So centering on the front doesn't look that bad. And the back also looks pretty good too. Again, I'm not going to keep talking about it, but from what I can assume is not scratches and dings because of the sleeve. The centering is probably pretty good on this one. So this was actually a pretty good contender from what I can tell. As contender meaning a good PSA 10 contender. So Pratt, yeah. So if you want to just so the screenshot you're seeing on screen now is a pinned video I have on my TikTok called Grade Review and How To. Just watch that. It's 45 seconds. It teaches you how to join the Discord, what channel to submit your pictures in, and what instructions you need to follow to submit properly. And there's some other cool stuff in there too. We have a collections channel. People show off what they have in their collections. We talk about price discussions. We show off some cards. We show off some just cool stuff we have. It also allows me to ask feedback from you guys to continue improving my content and my streams, as well as announcements of giveaways. We're going to be doing a giveaway here very soon, and it makes it a lot easier to announce those in the Discord. So there's a lot more than just grade review in the Discord. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Of course. Hey, Keith, how's it going? All right, so thank you 4-0 for that one. And next up, we have JR Fishing TV. And this is JR's first submission. It's always exciting to have lurkers submitting their cards for the first time. So it's always really cool to see. So, and again, I have no qualms. You know, as long as it's not too much, like because one of the rules is like bulk submissions. I tend not to review. So like if you're just submitting commons and uncommons, but since this was his first submission and it's only one, I kind of let this one slide because it's kind of cool too. Kind of seeing some of the older Team Rocket. So this I would consider vintage, in my opinion, and it's just one, so I'm kind of letting it slide. So we're doing good. Keith, I appreciate it. Have I ever heard of TGA grading? They're a local grading company. Wanted to try. I guess it just depends on like what you're trying. I've personally have never heard of them. So if you're just wanting to grade with them because you like the slab, by all means go for it. It sounds cool if it's like a local grading company that you want to support and just kind of support like a local business. I mean, that's really awesome. I'm a huge fan of supporting local businesses. But I'd say if you want my business response, You're probably not going to get like a big like return on your investment if you're to sell a card graded by TGA, because it just sounds like they haven't had like a long time, like a long time being in the market space to gather that credibility amongst collectors. So that's why like the big three, PSA, BGS, CGC, those are like the big grading companies, with PSA historically being the highest for your return. But again, if you like it just to kind of protect your cards and it has really cool slabs, like someone was asking me what my favorite looking slab is, I mean, by all means, go for it. If you're just using it for your personal collection. But I personally have never heard of it, but that's cool. All right, Dark Dragonair from Team Rocket Unlimited. Centering is really good. Corners look good. Edges look good. There's no hollow to worry about. So far, the front's looking really good. Hopefully, it looks like that on the back as well. And unfortunately, we are seeing some whitening on the top edge there. We have some right there by my mouse. Have some on the bottom left. Some bottom edge. So this one's actually going to be a good one, because I haven't asked you guys to vote in a little bit. This one's always good to kind of gauge chat's opinion on, because really the biggest thing that's kind of holding this Dragonair back is the amount of whitening on the back of the card. So this is actually really good. I forgot. I apologize if you, I'm not meaning to miss you, but someone was asking me how much whitening affects like certain corners. So this is a really good example on kind of learning from that. So let me start a poll. So text poll, restart. So a new poll should active. You should see a little blue clipboard that popped up in the top left-hand corner of your device. That's where you can vote on what you think this card would get graded as. So this is a really good example on kind of how much whitening can really impact the overall grade of a card. Even though if the front was really good, the back is really where that whitening is coming into play. So while you guys are voting, there's actually a comment that I apologize that I missed. I was kind of scrolling back up, and it was from, let's see, 5.0 Pony. And I think this is a really good thing to kind of touch up on while you guys are voting. So they asked, is polishing and cleaning cards good before sending in cards for grading? So I would say that everything except for using like card wax or any chemicals is considered an alteration, which would mean that if PSA, BGS, or CGC catches you using those types of agents on your cards to kind of fill in scratches or try to repair them, they will consider them alterations. And if you don't want to take my word for it, several people in that space, including the CEO of PSA, has made an announcement saying the exact same thing that I'm saying. So if you're trying to legitimately grade and want to, kind of be within the guidelines of PSA, BGS, CGC, I would not recommend using card wax or like polish or anything like that. However, people still do it. They're just kind of running an inherent risk of doing so. And, at the end of the day, everyone's an adult. They can make their own decisions. But for me personally, me doing this as a business, I don't have what's called the risk appetite, meaning that I don't want to take that risk to have, like, to potentially worst case scenario, lose my ability to submit through PSA because I'm sending too many altered cards. So again, it's all a risk. If you have that risk appetite, go for it. But I personally don't recommend it. Exactly, Giant. Yeah, well, Mama doesn't know, right? When cat's away, the mice will play. The rattatas will play. When the Meowths are away. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about Kurtz and like a bunch of other card waxes, but I just think it's such a gamble. I really do. And it's like especially for those who like submit their cards to get serviced, it's just such a risk. I personally just would never do it, but teach their own. I'm never gonna talk down upon them or like any company that does it, because at the end of the day, everyone's an adult. They can make their own decisions, but that's kind of where I'm at. All right, so chat thinks 7 or 6. So again, this is a really good example on how much whitening can affect a card's condition in terms of a PSA grade. So again, if we look at the front of this, right, the centering is really good, corners are really good, and the surface is really good on this Dark Dragonair. However, when we flip it over, this is where you're really starting to see some of that whitening impact the potential PSA grade. So if we look, right, so we have some whitening on the top, we have some whitening on that left side, as well as the bottom left corner, the bottom edge, and we're kind of going around, and we don't really see any around on the flash here. So the big question, right, is whether or not this would be considered a light play or a near mint. Because normally, like, a really easy rule of thumb, if you're ever trying to like wonder, like when you're out like in like your local game store or a card show or anything like that, if you're trying to wonder like what a raw card compares to a graded card, I like to have it to where if I think it's like a good light play, it equates to a PSA 6. Or if I think it's a good near mint, I equate it to be a PSA 7. And obviously, if the card is even better than a near mint, you're kind of going to that near mint plus, and you're going in that like PSA 8 to PSA 10 range, possibly. So the big question that we want to ask ourselves is, do we consider this near mint or do we consider this light play? So the big things that we're seeing is more of the whitening. So we have 1, 2, 3 here on the bottom, and then slightly 4 on the top. And so if I'm kind of looking, just making sure we don't see any other scratches or dings or anything like that. Chucky, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate that. I would say, again, I don't think it's bad enough to where it would be a light play. I think if there was a little bit more whitening on this edge, it probably would be a very easy light play contender. But you might be able to kind of sneak in a soft 7. But if it got a 6, if there is something else that I'm not seeing on the card, I wouldn't be surprised. But you're probably looking at that soft 7 area. But if there's anything else going on with this card that we can't see on stream, you're probably looking at a 6, would be my guess. But we'll roll the dice a little bit. But how much is a small crease going to dock your grade? Like what Keith's saying, a pretty good, a little bit for sure. Creases and dents can bring a card. I've even seen like bring them down like 4 grades from like starting at a PSA 10, like to bring it down to even like a 7 or a 6, depending on where it is, like how visible it is, stuff like that. So it really does. Like I always kind of hate giving that answer, but without seeing it, it really does depend. It really does. All right, so Junior Fishing TV, thanks so much for your first submission. Thanks so much for letting us look at your cool Dark Dragonair. And next up, we got a little bit of everything here. So let me get these queued up here. Got the Gardevoir. We got the Sylveon EX. We got a really cool looking Alakazam EX. And then we have some, let's see, some Evolving Skies that's been skyrocketing lately, which is insane to me. And then we have a special promo Pikachu, Detective Pikachu, riding on the Growlithe. That's cool. So let me get that ready. I've heard people say any type of dent or crease. Yeah, so that's probably pretty good conservative rule of thumb, Young, to be honest. Yes, Chief. Andres, thanks so much for the follow. Yeah, Giant. It's actually interesting. I finally got my I know I've been talking about it on stream a lot. I finally have my humidor at the right humidity, and I tested it on a few cards, and it has been really good so far. I want to test it more on some like some higher end stuff too, but I'm hoping I can make a video on that soon, because I really want to make sure that I test it well, because I have like the plexiglass. I've been able to like flatten out stuff. I've been able to kind of smooth out some of those dents or bends, but it has been really good so far. So I want to keep testing it a little bit more before I like fully advertise it. But yeah, it's been great. It's been absolutely great. I just wish I had a bigger one so I could do more cards at once, to be honest. Because right now I have a smaller one that I can only do like a max of 2 at a time. But okay. So this submission is by 4Runner. I don't think my humidor is that expensive. I bought it from Amazon. It was like $50, I think. This is not a 7 or 6. And I'm actually going to grab a quick drinky poo because my seltzer's gone. So this is a good water break. I'll be right back, chat. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to take a quick break to get some water, and I'll be right back. So hydrate if you have water next to you. Hydro homies. Because I've been eating corn and ice cream for the last hour and a half. So I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Thanks for your patience, chat. Hopefully you guys are well hydrated. All right, Gardevoir EX. I feel like this card is going to be going up there in the years to come. I have no idea, Chris. Honestly, I have no idea. We do have more in the queue. Yep. All right, so centering on the left between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. On the right, same thing. The top, just shy of 1/4 inch. And the bottom is also. So the centering on this, so far, so good. Let's take a look in the back. And let's see. So I do see, I don't know if that's a hair or what. I'm not too sure what that is, but I also see some lint. Okay. I'm also seeing possibly like an ink error or ink issue there on that near below the P, and a slight white dot on that bottom right. But if that is a white dot, I think that would probably hold you back from the 10, unfortunately. But Chris, do you know if you're doing Muse today? Since I got to do some stuff on my PC. If you didn't get I don't think if I didn't message you, then I probably won't. but PC issues are awful. I hate that. So hopefully, good luck. Hopefully. So Chief, how I'm doing it is I literally have a ruler in my hand, that I'm putting the ruler up against. So that's how I'm doing it. That's why I always say, like, you know, kind of take it with a grain of salt, but I'm literally using a ruler pushing up against my monitor. So I'm saying like a 1/4 inch. I have like a comically large ruler that I use to measure. But yeah, I would say if that's a little like white dot in that bottom right, that probably will hold you back from the 10, unfortunately. But besides that, it's really clean. All right, next up, we have the Sylveon EX Radiant Collection. Probably my favorite Radiant Collection card, to be honest. I think it's really kawaii. So let's take a gander. Centering is really good. That's awesome. Centering is really good. Surface is looking good. So far, so good. Little Eevee button the... I don't even know, the ribbons, I guess. But from this angle, so far, so good. I think that little white speck up there can probably just get wiped off, would be my guess. The back, however, let's take a look. I am seeing that might be some surface abrasions. I'm not too sure. I probably shouldn't be whipping my mouse like that. So like right there, at the tip of my mouse, there's some scratches, or what appears to be some scratches. Bottom left corner looks good. That on the tip of my mouse looks like a bit of dust that I'm imagining you'll probably get cleaned off. This looks like something, but it might be dust. I'm not too sure. So I'd say if all those are just pieces of dust they can get rid of, that's great. And I don't know from the angle of the picture you're showing, I don't know if that's like a whitened corner or not. But I'm not too... Yeah, Chief, that's what I'm looking at too. I'm not too sure if that is like a whitened corner or not. If it is, that will hold you back. But if it's not, then that's pretty good. But you also have this, what appears to be a scratch or something on that surface. So I'm not too sure if that would get the 10 or not. I'd probably even... You know what? We'll ask chat. I haven't had you guys a vote in a little bit. So a poll should be active right now. That little blue clipboard that just popped up on the top left of your phone. But it's really just this. Again, I think it's a good like learning moment on whether or not we think that whitened edge, possible whitened corner, is gonna take that back, or this possible scratch on that surface. But I don't know. And that's what's nice about Witch being in chat as well, because this is their submission, to kind of weigh in on some of these observations as well. Trent, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. And if I missed anyone else that followed or liked or shared, I definitely appreciate all the love. Again, I do this as a free service to the community, to do free grade reviews. I think it's really informative. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of people out there that kind of offer some misinformation on what grading is and how it works and how everything isn't just a 10 if it comes out of a pack. So all the love and support, I really can't say it enough. I really do appreciate it. Looks like dull cut top corner. Gotcha. Yes, because most of the average for chat is an 8 for the Sylveon. Pack fresh. That's what I'm... Yeah, Chief. You're not wrong. Sometimes that can be the case. Legitimately. But let's see. It was pack fresh, huh? And was this was this a scratch right here? Because I say if this is a scratch, I probably would still say an 8. But if it's not, probably could get away with a 9, unless these... I would say probably safe to say 8. No scratch? Okay. So, yeah, I would say... I don't know, probably I wouldn't even say an 8, because the centering is really good. Honestly, I'd probably say a 9. That's my guess. Because the surface looks really good on the front. And the back centering looks really good, too. Just the only thing that I could tell is just like this very, very white, like very slight whitening on the top right, but everything else looked pretty good. Because I think all that's just like fuzz and stuff. But yeah. All right, next up we got the Alakazam EX. Really, really nice looking card. Really like this a lot. But I think we are having some centering issues on the bottom to the top, though. Let me take a look. Slightly above 1/8 of an inch on the bottom. And, oh yeah, we got, it is XY, Chief. I think it's from Steam Siege, I think. I could be wrong. Honestly, I was totally not present during XY era. But yeah, this card's insane. Yeah, so a little bit thicker on that top part than the bottom. So it's off-center from the top bottom, from what I can tell. Oh, my headset fell off. All right, so on the left, we got between a 1/4 and an 1/8. And yeah, so it looks like the left side, is a bit thicker than the right. But then the top is thicker than the bottom. So in addition to, you also have some stuff that probably just get wiped off with a microfiber cloth would be my guess. Like near the Alakazam's chest, you got a little bit of a white speck there. But then, sounds good, Chris. Thanks so much for sticking around so long. Good luck with your PC fix. Hopefully it resolves itself, whatever the problem is. Okay. So on the top, we do have some mild abrasions is what it looks like. I don't think this is fuzz because it kind of looks like clumped together, like right where the tip of my mouse is. But there is some whitening on the top there too. That looks like a fuzz to me. I would probably say that this is probably a pretty solid 8 contender just from the centering issues on the front. Would be my guess. But where's Hyso? Is there a queue for grading? So if you are submitting into the regular grade review, yes. So it's first come, first serve. However, if there's cards that you really want to get assessed like by next week, we do offer a subscription through TikTok that grants you expedited grade review. So it just depends on how fast you want them to be. Because you can also check in the grade review channel. I leave reactions to kind of help you guys see like where I'm at in the grade review process. But I do start from the top and I work my way down. But if you want your cards done faster, you can subscribe through the TikTok to get expedited grade review. But yeah. All right, Dragonite V going in absolutely insane lately. Along with pretty much every other all art in Sword and Shield and Evolving Skies and everything else just going insane. So let's measure the centering. So the first thing that catches my eye is the right to the left. So let's take a look. So the right, just shy of a 1/4 inch. And then the left is a little bit more noticeable, more towards an 1/8 of an inch. So at quick measurement, the right side is thicker than the left. But let's measure the top. So the top is just shy of a 1/4 inch. And the bottom is also just... So it looks like to me, this right side's slightly thicker than the left. But again, I would measure this in person because if you're within that, like, I don't know if I think it's 55-45, but it might be 60-40. I can't remember. It's one of the two. But I'd probably measure this right side and compare it to the left. But the back looks really good. 60-40, okay. Jose, thanks so much for following the live. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. But the back on this one actually looks really good. So you might have a pretty solid. Is the top left corner frayed? I don't think so. It might just be like a lighting, because sometimes like how pictures are taken and how it shows up on stream and through Discord, sometimes there's kind of like almost like a glow from certain angles. So I don't think so. I don't think it's frayed. But this one's a really good. This one's really good, for sure. Yeah, like exactly what you're saying, Nick. It's a 10 on a good day, 9 on a bad. So this one, I would, if this were mine, I would probably submit it just regardless. That's a really good contender for sure. So congrats on that one. And then we got the special edition promo for Detective Pikachu riding the back of a Growlithe. It's always cool. I would grade it too. Yeah, for sure. Definitely grade that. Centering is really good on here. And then I'm assuming that white speck, I'm hoping for your sake, is just like a little bit of fuzz or something. Nick, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the kind words, Nick. Thanks so much. So that's lint? Okay. So you got some belly button lint there in the bottom. So let's flip it on over. So let's see. So the only thing that I can see, I'm going to check some other spots first. Nothing like using a Japanese Pikachu promo to dig out your belly button lint. I'm just messing with you, if you can't catch that already. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the lighting or what. Like, there's like almost like a faint line here. And normally if it's faint, like there might be a mild bend or something, but I don't think that's true. That's just like the first thing, because that was like the first thing that really caught my eye was this top right hand corner. You might be able to confirm it because you're obviously in possession of the card, but that's the only thing I can see is like if you kind of like look away real quick. But I'm not too sure. I want to say probably no, that it's not anything. Then yes, it is something. But besides that, the centering of this card is really good on both the front and the back, and I don't see any white in corners. So this one, again, this one might be another worthy submission, for sure. Yeah, it just looks like A grade. That's definitely an A grader, right? For sure. But yeah, that one would be, I would say that one and the Dragonite V. If you're trying to like go for 10 contenders, those are probably the best two, in my opinion, that we've seen tonight. All right, so next we have Siete Uno 3. So let's get... So Siete is actually looking to see... So we got another Evolving Skies. So they're asking if this is a PSA 10 contender. Show me a cool card, please. Well, hopefully this is a cool card for you, Ghoul Boy. We just got done looking at a cool promo Detective Pikachu. So depending on what your level of cool is. Next, we have an Umbreon V from Evolving Skies that has also been going up crazy in price. And these are actually not my cards, Ghoul. These are because we do a free grade review. And so members of the community will submit their cards for free in our Discord to be reviewed live to give our PSA submission. So these are none of my cards that I actually own. This is just a free service that I offer. So let's take a look. So Siete is wondering if this would be a PSA 10. So let's measure that right side to the left. And again, I'm just, for those of you who are wondering how I'm measuring and you're not seeing it, I'm physically pushing a huge ruler up against my monitor and measuring. So the right side for the ruler that I'm using is 1/4 inch. And then on the left is just under 1/4 inch, but it might be within the 10 parameter. Again, I would always follow up on your own because I'm literally measuring through a picture on Discord and pressing a ruler up on my monitor. So you doing it in person is going to be much more accurate than mine. So I'd say if you're going to measure this in person, the right side from my perspective is a little bit thicker, but it might be within that range of getting 10 centering. And although it's a little bit blurry because we can't really see if there's any surface issues, but the main thing what I look for in Modern is there's no notable signs of whitening on the corners. So for measuring, I think that this would be a good 10 contender, but definitely double check if you really want this to be as like good of a 10 as you can possibly get. Definitely measure the front and the back. But it does look clean based off of what we've seen in the pictures. There's not anything noticeable. This is actually a pretty good contender, so kudos to you picking that up. All right, next we have Jonah. And we got some, hopefully we can satisfy Ghoul Boy's palette of having some cool cards. Because we got some may say vintage, some may say non-vintage. But we got some reverse Holland Phantoms and Legend Maker coming up. So really cool looking cards. So let's take a look. Always a big fan. I've said it once and I'll say it 10,000 more times. Always a big fan of how this era did their reverses with their reverse rares for having like the set name in the bottom right corner. Yeah, Comical, I love this. I came from your Legendary Collection post. I like that. Oh, nice, cool. That's cool to hear. Yeah, I love the reverse rares. Like back in the day, like they were really like kind of throwing everything against the wall for cool like alterations of reverse hollows, but my favorite for sure will always be the Legendary Collection. Definitely. All right, so the Meowth reverse rare from Holland Phantoms. So we can kind of see right off the bat. First off, this is not a 9, and this is not an 8 for sure. It won't get either of those because I can tell right away that we almost have like a nail imprint above the W in Meowth, as well as some corner folds in that top left-hand corner. So besides that, that left edge is good, the bottom edge is good, and the right edge is pretty good too. Have some mild dirt on the back, little dirty Meowth. Probably get that cleaned up, but besides that, I'm not seeing from this picture specifically, I'm not seeing any major scratches on the hollow itself. So that's good. And boy howdy, it doesn't get any better on the back either, huh, chat? Because we have some of those dents that we're seeing. And as well as this crease. I wonder if that was on the front too. Yes, it was. Right here. So that's that crease on that right side. So the crease on the right, and then flipping it over on the left. Yeah, those are pretty significant dents. Have some scratches on the back. Have some more creases, some whitening. Man, that's wild. Because that might be even, this might even be that crease that we just saw on the back. Because that's like right in the middle of the card. So that matches. So this one right here matches this crease right here. And then we have this one on the bottom that doesn't carry over on the back from what I can tell. But yeah, let's this cards like this are always very interesting to see what you guys think. So I just activated a poll, hopefully now. So a little blue clipboard should have just popped up in the top left-hand corner of your device. So if you want to weigh in on what you think this card would get, now is your chance to vote. And so while you guys are voting in the poll, I'm going to catch up with chat. Hey, Poke, how's it going? The Tiny Dinies, the music play, I appreciate it as always. Thanks so much. Hopefully all is well. Hopefully you're listening to me on podcast time. I feel like I'm like your personal radio DJ or something. This is Grade Review, episode 19. Coming to you live. We're looking at some cool Pokemon cards. Some may be beat, some may be in pristine condition, but we love them either way. Oh, really? Well, stay safe with those tornadoes, man. That's been like all I've been hearing on the news, is just how crazy those tornadoes have been. So definitely stay safe. And the chickens, gotta keep the chickens safe too, until they end up in my Chick-fil-A. All right. So we have a average of 5 to 4. Oh, gotcha. Well, that's good, Poke. Yeah, like once they leave the possession of Poke's truck, those chickens, if they go to Chick-fil-A or they go to wherever, they are they're coming into my possession in the form of food. All right, so you guys are thinking 5 or 4. I honestly don't think you're that far off. I would say if any of these creases were worse or these dents were worse, I mean they're bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I would probably, I think me personally, like if these were worse, because the edges are actually what's kind of saving this, as well as the front of this Meowth not being so riddled with scratches. But I would probably say that this is heavy play. Someone was asking if I would consider this heavy play or damaged. I think if there's any worse dents or creases, I definitely would say damaged. But this is like borderline heavy play damage, but I think more on, like, I'd say like 55% on the heavy play side, 45% on the damage side. If there's anything worse, I'd definitely push it over to the damage, but that would be my guess. And then we have the Lapras from Legend Maker. This actually, like, this reverse looks really good. I really like, kind of like nerding out real quick. Like the fact that the gold hollow background matches with the gold lettering of the Lapras. This card just looks really good. It looks really clean. But let's take a look. Hopefully it's not as, like, I'm hoping for your sake that this isn't as bad as the Meowth that we just looked at. Centering looks pretty good at first glance. Nothing I'd bust out the ruler for. Corners look really good. Edges look really good. Let's see. Surface is really clean. I am seeing a little bit of scratching here, like kind of like towards that sun spot area of the card. I don't know how else to say it. Like in that top left-hand corner. So fingers crossed we flip it over and it's still good. Like it's still good. It's definitely still good compared to the Meowth. We do have some like slight frayed edges here on that left corner. But as we kind of look down, we have one white spot on that left edge. We have some whitening on that bottom left corner. Have some whitening on that bottom edge. A little bit of whitening on that bottom right. So the big takeaway word is whitening for sure on the back, especially on that right edge as well. So let's do. I see some guesses in chat. So let me start a poll real quick to see what you guys think. So that should be active now. If you want to vote, the blue clipboard that just popped up in the top left-hand corner. If you want to weigh in on what you think this would get, that way we can kind of average them all together. And I think I missed a few followers, so I definitely apologize for that. But I also appreciate everyone who has followed and shared and liked the lives. Again, this is a free service I offer every Wednesday. It's called Grade Review. If you're just tuning in, where I review the community members' cards for free from our Discord. It's a completely free service. I love doing it. It's a good experience for me because I really like to, show people, like, just because a card comes fresh from a pack doesn't mean it means a PSA 10, because there's a lot of creators that kind of make you assume that. So I'm just here just to kind of shine some of my experiences with grading PSA, as well as kind of chat myself looking at some cool cards. So I definitely appreciate all the love. It really does mean a lot to me. Mike and Chris, thanks so much for following the live. I appreciate it. All right, so chat average is thinking 7 to 6. Very cool, very cool. So let us take a look at what I think this Lapras from Legend Maker would get. Hey, Jacob. Okay, so the front centering is good. There are some mild scratches in that hollow section. But the front's pretty good. So we flip it over. Again, we do see some like mild fold here, but I honestly think you can probably like press that out. The scratches, Chief, from what I can tell, is like It's going to be really tough to probably see on stream, but I can see one like right here. Like right where the tip of my mouse is, there's a scratch, as well as right there. And one barely right here. Yeah. I think there's another live creator top that does that. I think she wears like a ski mask or something. I forgot. She's popped up on my feed a few times. I ship. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. But other than that, is really the big thing kind of holding this back. It's just like this mild whitening on the edges. The only thing that I could think of is I'm hoping you can probably get, like, this is like, I literally just saw this. I don't know why I didn't see it before. But there's like some mild dirt here or something stuck onto this O in the Pokemon. You can probably get that cleaned off, would be my guess. But I don't think, just based off of what I'm seeing on the front of the Lapras, as well as the back. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Chief. I think it's just dirt. They can probably just get cleaned off. But I would say probably you're looking at like probably like a soft 7. Like, unless there's anything else that we don't see in like the hollow section, like where it kind of gets a little bit darker here. I'd probably say like a soft 7. Like knocking at the 6 door would be my guess. But I would say, just to pick one or the other, I'd probably say a 7 would be my guess. And so yeah. And then again, for those of you who are wondering what I'm actually doing, this is grade review. We do this once a week every Wednesday, where we review the community's cards for free in our Discord. It's a first come, first serve basis. And if you're wondering how to join, a screenshot is on screen right now. It's one of my pinned videos on my TikTok channel. If you watch, it's about a 45-second video. It'll teach you everything you need to know about how to join the Discord, what channel to submit, and most importantly, what the rules are to submit. Because although I missed one tonight, which I'm still kind of kicking myself over, you know, just to try to prevent people from like taking pictures of cards that are in top loaders or sleeves, that just make it hard for us as the viewer to like see these scratches. So, like, this is a really good example from what Jonah did. Like, really high quality, really zoomed in, really good lighting, makes it a lot easier for us to see like Lily's imperfections to kind of help properly assess the card's condition. So yeah. Let me take this off because I'm going to do that again, I bet. Alright, so Jonah is done. Let me see where else I'm at here. And I'm just checking my list here. And I think I think I caught up for today. I mean, there's obviously still some in the grade review channel. But I think that's going to do it for me. So I would say, if you haven't already, I highly recommend joining the Discord, because we have grade review episode 20, which is going to be very big. And I really want to try to do a special giveaway during that time that I really don't want you guys to miss. So I'm super stoked. I'm going to try to make it special for the 20th episode of grade review. I'm very fortunate to get to this point. You guys have been awesome. So again, if you want to join the Discord, the announcements for the giveaways and all that stuff are going to be there, and some fun surprise that I'm hopefully going to sneak in for grade review on next Wednesday, which is going to be episode 20. So that, I think, is going to do it for me tonight. I definitely appreciate all the love and support. You guys are awesome. It really does mean a lot that you guys like this style of content. And again, make sure to follow the TikTok if you haven't already for more updates on when I go live and some other cool videos as well. And if you want to join the Discord, the screenshot is up on screen now. It's one of my pinned videos, grade review and how to. It's the best way you can join the Discord for a bunch of fun stuff, a bunch of cool announcements, giveaways, stuff like that. Probably the best way. So with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I appreciate all the love and support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.